try and make it a discussion. Last time we had such a good group of kids who really facilitated the discussion element. Judah, why don't you come up here with these kids if you want? No, thank you, no problem. Judah's also really good for discussions. Thank you for being polite though, Judah.
You're welcome.
Yes. So, today's theme is tolerating suffering. Do you guys ever suffer sometimes? Mm-hmm. Anyone here bold enough to say, no, I never suffer? Wow, good for you, Summer. I hope you don't stub your toe later. But if you do, you won't suffer, so it'll be very good. A lot of us, most of us suffer in this world. We have all kinds of reasons to suffer. But there's a strategy of what to do when we suffer. And Krishna gives this strategy to Arjuna, who was suffering. The whole Bhagavad Gita was spoken because Arjuna was suffering. This looks a little off kilter there, right, Meghna? Am I the only one who's saying something like that? Yes, maybe one of the... I think something should be tightened at the bottom there. So anyway, would you all like to know Krishna's strategy on how to deal with suffering? Sure. Is this relevant? No one here suffers? Am I the only one?
I say suffering.
Yes. Brittany's acknowledging my wife's suffering. We were talking about this morning, everyone thinks birth is such a pleasant experience, how much the baby is suffering in the womb, actually, believe it or not. It's a ton of suffering that goes on. We all entered this world suffering. We'll all leave this world suffering. Not many people very blissfully go through the death process. So this is suffering is a part of life. So Krishna has a strategy on how to deal with suffering, and he told Arjuna this, one of the first 3 or 4 things he told Arjuna. So we're going to do that verse. It's in chapter 2. It's a very famous verse. You probably already know it. So would you repeat after me? It's 2:14. Do we have a bunch of Bhagavad Gitas here? If not, we can... if you want to get it on the TV, it's possible. If not, it's easy enough to remember. Yeah, everyone has phones. You can look up verse 2:14. Or you can just listen, use the ears. Matra sparshas tu konteya Shitoshna sukha dukada Agama paino nityas Tam statikshashva bharata Matra sparshas tu konteya Shitoshna sukha dukada Agama paino nityas Tam statikshashva bharata. Okay, matra, sensuous. Sparsha, perception. 2, only. Konteya, O son of Kunti. Shita, winter. Ushna, summer. Sukha, happiness. Dukkha, dukkada, giving pain. Agama, appearing. Apayana, disappearing. Anitya, non-permanent. Tan, all of them. Titikshashva, just try to tolerate. Bharata, O descendant of the Bharat dynasty. Okay. So, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. Hey, summer. Okay. They arise from sense perception. O scion of Bharata. And one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. This is very good. Okay, I'm going to just read, this is a short little snippet from Srila Prabhupada. He writes in his purport, in the proper discharge of duty, one has to learn to tolerate non-permanent appearances and disappearances of happiness and distress. According to Vedic injunction, one has to take his bath Just to give a little context, Prabhupada is giving a very kind of old-fashioned type of duties of ladies and men. Now, in this age, it may seem that these duties may be less relevant, but indeed they are. So he says one has to take his bath early in the morning, even during the month of Magh, or January and February. Now we all have showers, but actually, back when he was born, the showers weren't like a thing. This is a modern convention. But still, you should bathe and be clean, especially those who are living a Brahminical or like a sacred lifestyle. They should bathe and be clean. So even in the winter, you had to go out even when it's cold, early in the morning, and also take bath. It is very cold at that time, but in spite of that, a man who abides by the religious principles does not hesitate to take his bath. You would just have to tolerate. I actually am... I've lived, I don't know if it's illegal actually, but I've lived in a basement for the past 2 years. In America, you're not supposed to do that. 3 years, my wife is saying. She's been counting. So anyway, but it's very cold in the basement, and especially in the winter when you take a shower. Also there's sometimes where there's at least 3 days every 2 weeks where I'm scripturally recommended to take cold showers. So I've made accommodations now where I now take Indian cold showers. An Indian cold shower is much warmer than an American cold shower. Because if you put the water all the way on cold, in America it's really, really, really cold. Especially in Syracuse. But if you do that in India, it's not so bad. I got practice earlier this year when I was in India. So now I put the shower on just cold enough where it's like Indian cold shower. So, but anyway... And when you take an Indian cold shower, even an Indian cold shower in the winter, it's cold, yeah. It's very, it's not easy to get out and do this. But despite this, this is the religious injunction, so one does it. And you have to learn to tolerate these things. Now this one is going to be a little old-fashioned, but just hear it out. Similarly, a woman does not hesitate to cook in the kitchen in the months of May and June. Now in India, May and June is really, really hot. Here it's probably July and August. But still, if you're a lady and your duty is cooking, if you're a man, whoever's duty is cooking, you still don't hesitate to do your duty and go out to cook. It can get hot by the stove. I'm actually always marveling how hot my wife can get when she is cooking and she's around the oven and she's shutting all the heaters off and I'm so cold. But you don't hesitate to do your duty. You have to tolerate. The winter and summer seasons come. One has to execute his duty in spite of climatic inconveniences. Similarly, to fight is the religious principle of the Kshatriyas, and this is what Arjuna was being called to do. And although one has to fight with some friend or relative, one should not deviate from his prescribed duty. One has to follow the prescribed rules and regulations of religious principles in order to rise up to the platform of knowledge. Because by knowledge and devotion, only can one liberate himself from the clutches of Maya, or illusion. The two different names of address given Arjuna are also significant. To address him as Kaunteya signifies his great blood relations from his mother's side, and to address him as Bharata signifies his greatness from his father's side. From both sides, he is supposed to have a great heritage. A great heritage brings responsibility in the matter of proper discharge of duties. Therefore, he cannot avoid fighting. So, before I speak anything, I'm just going to chant a few prayers. I hope you don't mind. This will be our meditation time. Does this sound good? So everyone maybe sit up nice and tall. Yes, the kids are very enthusiastic. Sit up nice and tall. Close your eyes, take a deep breath. And if you know these mantras, sing along from the heart. If not, just do some nice deep breathing. And ask for the blessings of these personalities to come to you. Om Dhyana Timirandasya Dhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Svavadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padagamaram Vaishnavamscha Shirupam Sagajatam Sagana Raguna Panditam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Krishna Manvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhani Sute Devi Pranamani Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuveva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Te Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shrimadhi Ashtata Veshatarine. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of the summer and winter seasons. They arise from sense perception, O sign of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So this is what we have to do. It's inevitable, everything's going to change in this material world. There's ups and downs, sometimes there's a red party, then there's a blue party, and then they keep switching. Sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's hot, and it'll keep switching. And if you are very, very much attached, it has to be just like this, or it has to be just like that, guess what you're going to do?
Suffer.
Yeah, you're going to suffer. You're going to be very disturbed. You can see this. There are some people who have learned to tolerate, and then there's many who have not learned to tolerate. Many people can do the same exact thing, have the same exact, climactic inconveniences imposing on their life, but a person who has learned to tolerate can withstand, no problem. And the person who has not learned to tolerate, they'll break down, they'll crack up. So ultimately, the yogi, or the one who is fixed in yoga, needs to learn to tolerate these ups and downs of life. Many times we have these ups and downs. There's actually an interesting story in the Vedas. Do you all know who Lord Brahma is? Who's Lord Brahma?
Me?
Yes, you.
Lord Brahma is a god.
Yes, and what does he do?
He creates.
He creates stuff, a lot of stuff. All of this universe as you know it is Lord Brahma's work. So one time, Lord Brahma, he is used to being the big chief. Most of the other gods, they go to him to pray, and he gives boons and things like this. But every once in a while, he gets a little puffed up. He gets a little proud of his abilities, his own God-given abilities. Because who created Lord Brahma? Do you know?
Lord Vishnu.
Yeah, Lord Vishnu from the lotus flower. And that's how the universe was ultimately created. And Lord Brahma was given the rest of creation. Like this. So very good. You study. Remind me your name?
Soham.
Soham. Yes, you have a very peaceful name. So I'm very happy. So yes, Lord Brahma, one time, he was witnessing Krishna's pastimes on earth. Krishna and the cowherd boys, they just killed the Aghasura demon. You've heard of this pastime, this big snake demon? And he opened his mouth like a cave, and all of the cowherd boys went in, and Krishna went in and expanded himself and killed the snake, and then so many things like this happen. So you might have seen like this or heard this before. But Lord Brahma, he witnessed this, but he was kind of marveling, because after all these wonderful feats were done by Krishna, then Krishna and the cowherd boys, they were gathering together, and then they were messing around and pushing each other and jumping on each other's shoulders and smearing food on each other. So like this. So Lord Brahma, he said, well, this Krishna is quite powerful, but there's no way he can be, what kind of God acts like this? Well, there's no way he can be, some very, very, very powerful personality. So he was actually a little befuddled. He was a little confused. But he said, you know what? I shall test him. So he arranged to take, when Krishna and the cowherd boys weren't looking, he took all the calves. They had lots of calves, and that they would, all the little boys, they were in charge of looking after the calves. Like when you got to your age, Soham and Summer, if you were little cowherd boys, you would go out with the calves every day, while your parents took care of the big cows, and you would take care of the little cows. And then eventually one day you could take care of the big cows. So that's what the little boys did. So he took away all their calves, so now they're quite worried. They just lost their job. Maybe that doesn't mean anything to you, but when you're older, if you lost your job, it's that's a big deal. But all of a sudden they lost their job. So where did all of our calves go? So Krishna said, don't worry, I will go find them. You're all having fun eating and resting. I'll find the calves. So Krishna went off, and it seemed like he was looking for the calves. And then Brahma said, okay, now I'll test him again. I'm going to take all the boys. And he took all the boys. You've heard this story? This is called the Brahma Vimohan Lila. It's found, you see this big stack of books? This is the Srimad Bhagavatam, or the Bhagavad Purana. I have a challenge today. My challenge is to somehow get one of these stacks of books into somebody's house today. Let's see if we can do it. But that's my challenge today. So anyway, Shweta you have this in your house. It's very good, I remember. So then next, all of a sudden now the calves are gone, and now the boys are all gone. So now Krishna is looking everywhere. And he's got some rice and yogurt in his hand, in his left hand. And he's looking, where'd they go? And so Lord Brahma said, okay, now I'll test him again. I'll take them with me for one moment of my time. But Lord Brahma, one moment of his time, do you know how long that is for us here on earth? No, that's too long. 1 year. It's 1 year. It's just 1 year. So one moment of Brahma's time, actually there's what is this movie? Interstellar or something like this? They played with this theme where, when you're traveling through space in different places, the time warps and is different depending on your relativity to the planet. So anyhow, one moment of Lord Brahma's time is 1 year of our time. So he disappeared for 1 whole year. So he said, all right, if he's so powerful, what will this boy do? All his friends, all his cows, how will he explain to the rest? So Krishna, he had his own plan. Actually, he planned for Lord Brahma to do this in the first place. There are many reasons why he planned to do this. Because in Vrindavan, where Krishna is from, there was kind of a problem. Imagine, Soham is your son, right, Benita and Dikshit? Very good. And Summer is Shweta and Brajesh's son. Right. So imagine there's a very special boy, or let's say even special girl. What is your name, miss?
Z.
Z?
Z.
Zeal. That's your sister. So imagine that Zeal exists, and Zeal is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or Krishna. So this is very nice. But there is the issue that all of even Benita and Paloma, it doesn't matter whose kids are whose, everyone's just looking at the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they're so attracted that they were giving more affection to someone else's child, even though it's God, everyone is connected to God, but they're giving more affection to this child than their own children. So, it was kind of known amongst everyone that everyone loved Krishna even more than their own kids, which that's very odd actually. Most people really only love their own kids so much. But so Krishna, he had a plan, and everyone in their heart, they wanted to have Krishna as their child. All the adults, they wanted to have Krishna as their child. All the young girls, his age, they wanted to have Krishna as their husband. All of the friends his age, they wanted to have Krishna as their friend. And so like that. That's just the symptom of Vrindavan. If you're fortunate enough to somehow arise in Vrindavan, then everything surrounding is revolving around Krishna. So Krishna, he had a plan. He said, okay, I'll have Lord Brahma think that he's going to take them from me, but I really have a plan. So what did Krishna do? Does anyone know what he did?
He became their kids.
What's that?
He became everybody's kid.
He became everybody's kid. He became all the boys that went missing and all the calves that went missing, Krishna became all of them. And simultaneously still maintained his form as Krishna. He maintained all the forms of them all at once. So this is actually a very miraculous type of pastime. So why did Krishna do that? So also, maybe this isn't so relevant nowadays, but young boys and young girls would get married very young. For a girl, 8, boys 11 years old, 12 years old, they would get married very, very young. Why? Because they knew the tendencies when young boys and young girls mixing, then these type of emotions for each other arise. So best to get married at that time. So you can do it very wholesomely. So Krishna at that time, all the young girls who wanted to marry him, now he's in their form as seemingly other village boys, but it's really Krishna. So he married all the young girls. All of the parents who wanted Krishna as their son, now their son is also Krishna, and like that. And so he wanted to fulfill all of the desires of the Vrajabasis. So he did. So then after 1 year's time, Lord Brahma, he has come back. He had taken the boys and the calves and he put them all in a cave in Govardhan Hill, which was where he took them in the first place. And he put a mystic spell so that they wouldn't be able to get out. But then he saw something very strange. He came back and he saw all the boys and the calves and Krishna playing just like he did a year ago when he came. And he said, what is this? I swear I took them. So then he went to the cave where he put them and he saw all the boys and all the calves sleeping. And he said, I just saw them over here. So now he's got, how many heads does Lord Brahma have?
3.
No, one more.
4.
Yes, very good. So yes, 4 heads. He has 4 heads, one for each direction. So now all of his 4 heads are spinning and he doesn't know what's going on. I swear, I just put them over here. He's a lot smarter than we are. So he's so smart, he knows how to create all of this whole universe. But then he's completely bewildered by this whole activity of Krishna. So Krishna eventually had mercy on him. And so what did Krishna do? He actually revealed each one of those forms that now Lord Brahma was looking at, assumed a full Narayan form. Narayan is like the 4-armed Vishnu form, filled with armor and jewels and so many things like this. So now Lord Brahma is like, oh no. Who here has had a job before? Yes. Okay. And now I haven't worked a job in a few years actually. But when I would work jobs, every once in a while I would get a little comfortable on the job. And then I would just kind of do things I probably wasn't supposed to do on the job. Am I the only one who does like that? No, a couple of you do like that. Now, after you do a couple of things like that, did you ever get caught by your boss? Not yet. That's good. That's good. Maybe this story is, you keep on the straight and narrow. So if your boss catches you, it can be big trouble. So Lord Brahma, he realized he did that. He said, I realized I just played a trick on my boss. And now he's in big trouble. He's seeing that now this is actually all of the Vishnus. This means this must be Vishnu. This must be the one that I pray to. The one that I went to get the knowledge of creation. So he realized he upset his boss. Anyone have to realize that at some point, that, oh, I made a boo-boo, I have to apologize to my boss? So then you start composing nice prayers to your boss. Oh, dear boss, you're so kind, and this, like, and that. So actually, there's a whole chapter then in the Bhagavatam where Brahma is praying. He prays to Krishna as his boss, and he starts describing Krishna's position as the God of gods and this, that, and the other. And then there's one verse, and you say, why am I telling you this story? Because there's one verse that Lord Brahma prays that's very, very relevant to what Krishna also says many years later in the Bhagavad Gita. And it goes like this, so I'll teach you it today. You want to learn? Okay. Tate nukampam susamikshamano. Tate nukampam susamikshamano. Bunjana evatma kritam vipakam. Bunjana evatma kritam vipakam. Hridvagva prabir vidadan namaste. Hridvagva prabir vidadan namaste. Jiveta yom mukti pade sadayaba. Jiveta yom mukti pade sadayaba. Okay, now what's that mean? This actually is relevant to all of us. What it means is tat is that person, or unto them. Tat is that, and te is unto them. Nukampam is mercy, like whoever's looking for the Lord's compassionate mercy. So we're all probably, everyone believes in God here? And you can be honest. Summer super believes in God. So, yes, we all believe in God here. So would we all be interested in God's mercy in our life? Yes. So this is actually, if you're looking for mercy, this is Lord Brahma's claim on how to get Krishna's mercy. So this is why he designed all his prayers, because he knew he needed the Lord's mercy after making a boo-boo. He got in trouble at work. So anukampam is the Lord's is mercy. Susamikshamano, who is eagerly trying to seek that mercy. So this is another thing. We had a little discussion this morning about the Lord's grace versus our effort in receiving that grace. You know, if we're not eager to receive the mercy of the Lord, why should He bestow? Not that He has to. If He could give to lazy people if He wants, but if we're lazy and just everything will work, no problem. I don't have to make any endeavor. He probably also won't make the endeavor. So anyway, those who are eagerly seeking His mercy, Samikshamano, Bunjana, all the while you're experiencing. Bunjana is experiencing. All the while you're experiencing evatma. Certainly, atma is one's own. Kritam, actions, vipakam, that are arising from your pious and impious activities. Meanwhile, all the while you're suffering your karma for all of the things you've ever done. Now, a lot of times, especially in our more liberalized PC culture in the West, this Western culture, we've become like victims. Everything is everybody else's fault. It's Trump's fault, or it's Biden's fault, or it's this person's fault, or that person's fault. But you know whose fault it never is? It's never my fault. I never did anything to deserve this. I'm a total victim here. This is a very toxic type of mentality, where everything is everybody else's fault. Actually, the way karma works, Jesus also speaks of karma in the West. He says, you reap what? You reap what you sow. A good tree bears what type of fruit? Good fruit. A bad tree bears what type of fruit? Bad fruit. Yes, this makes sense. Anyone here gardened before? If you plant good seeds, it'll grow, right? Yes.
If you remember to water it.
Yes, if you remember to water it. And then you also have to get the grace of God. Don't forget that element. The weather has to comply and all these things. But at the same time, if you do everything that you can, you'll bear good fruit. So this is how life works. This is called karma. Our life is a direct. Our life is exactly what it should be, based on what we've done and what we've always done. Anyone disagree? Yes, so we can all agree, right? My life is the way it is because this is the way I've lived it. This is what I've earned in sorts. So this is necessary. This is necessary in receiving the Lord's mercy. You have to, what do they say? You have to deal with the cards that you've been dealt. This is your lot in life. You have to accept. You must learn to accept. What else can you do, actually? You can just maybe cry or complain. But how will that help? Complaining can never help, right? So we have to accept. But then it's incomplete if we just say, okay, I'm seeking the Lord's mercy and I'll accept what's happened. But now what's the positive action? What can I do to make things better? So then he says the next part of the verse. Ridvag vaprabir vidadan namaste. Rid is one's heart. And what's contained in the heart is the mind. One's source of desires. Vag is one's speech. It's relating to vacha, to speak. And vaprabir is one's body. Vidadan, I am offering. Namaste, unto you. I'm offering my heart, my desires, my speech, and my body unto you. And then what did I say after that? Vidavan, vidadan namaste. Jiveta yomukti pade sadayabak. Jiveta is one can live. Yomukti pade is at your feet, which gives mukti. Mukti means liberation or freedom from suffering. Sadayabak. And that person, can get your causeless mercy. This is dayabak, is this mercy. So if you want the Lord's mercy, actually, this is the strategy. It's not like a random, it's not just the Lord is unjust, He only gives mercy to that person over here, but this person, they don't get any mercy. It's a kind of a science, it's kind of a process. Who is eagerly seeking the Lord's mercy? Are we be honest with ourselves, are we eagerly seeking the Lord's mercy, or are we eagerly seeking so many other things? Are we eagerly seeking, income? Are we eagerly seeking, a job, or this, that, and the other? We're eagerly seeking so many things, but who's eagerly seeking the Lord's mercy? Actually, that's not usually what most of us are not doing in the material world. We're eagerly seeking so many things, but not so. The Lord's mercy, yeah, a little bit. When things get really bad, then I want the Lord's mercy. But until then, no problem. I don't need the Lord's mercy right now. This is the foolishness, unfortunately, of ourselves. We always need the Lord's mercy. Without the Lord's mercy, always surrounding us via the prana, the air we breathe, we'll suffocate. Without the Lord's mercy via the sun, in Syracuse, in this area, we all know how depressing we all get, all depressed we get in the winter, because the Lord's mercy of the sun goes away. And actually, I want to start every year, I want to go away too. And this time, I'll go to India or something. Because, yeah, it's quite depressing. So if we're eagerly seeking the Lord's mercy, what do? Your heart, your desires, your activities, your consciousness, you give it to the Lord. Your speech, what you talk about. We talk about so many things. How many things actually matter that we talk about? Maybe we want to talk about the weather. Maybe we want to talk about the cricket scores or the new movie that just came out. But do these things really matter in the long term? Who here is over the age of 40 years old? Brijesh, what was your favorite movie growing up? Chole. What is it? Chole. Not. Yeah, I was thinking like a movie about chickpeas. What is this? So Chole. Okay, where are the younger generation? Judah, have you ever heard of Chole?
No.
Okay. How about Soham? Chole, you've heard of? No. Summer, Chole? So how much did Chole really matter? It does die. Obviously, right? It's as the time goes on, it becomes more and more irrelevant, right? But this isn't the only. What's it? Brittany, you had your hand? Oh, my wife was pointing. No problem. So the things that we care about, really, in the long term, most likely are going to be like Sholeh, and not many people will care about them in the future, or they'll be irrelevant. What do you care about? What's your favorite show, Soham and Summer?
Well, my favorite show is Ninjago.
Ninjago. Oh my goodness.
My favorite show is Wild Kratts.
Wildcrats.
That's a good one.
Wildcrats and Ninjago. Okay, Brittany is giving a yes to Wildcrats.
I also like
Okay, anyone here over the age of 50?
Yes.
No, not Tithi, 50. No.
Daddy.
So anyway, if you ask anyone about the latest happenings in Ninjago to anyone over 50 years old, they're like, Ninjago, what is this? I'm 32 and I'm just learning what Ninjago is. I've never even heard of Ninjago.
That's because you don't have kids yet, but
That's-
you're getting there.
That is true. Who knows what I'm going to get implicated in with these kids. But anyway, these things are all relative and very temporary. But a lot of times we put so much emphasis on these. I used to watch sports a lot. Anyone here like sports? Let me guess, cricket? Yes, cricket. Yes. I know where I'm in. I know the audience. So, yes. Okay, I used to like American football and baseball and all these things. And I used to be really into all the stats, what the latest players are doing, how many touchdowns they had, what are their yards per carry, and so much things. Maybe in cricket, I don't know. I just know there's things called wickets, and, it's kind of like baseball, but, runs and things like this, So he's naming all of the stats that we should be paying attention to, that I probably won't be paying attention to. But we pay attention to these things, right? And I would care about, I don't know, the New York Jets. Oh, when did I like sports? Maybe 2012, 2013, I was still following these things. But now if you ask someone what any of the players, who was the MVP of the 2013 season, maybe an avid sports fan couldn't even tell you. Oh. So you see, in the course of time, these things don't matter. Do we like doing things that don't matter? Who likes doing things that don't matter? Nobody.
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do?
I want to shut my brain down from all my responsibilities. I like to do things that don't matter.
But if you're getting a much needed rest, it seems like it does matter. There's a level of recreation that can be there. But at the same time, the yogi or the one who's seriously seeking the Lord, they don't want to waste a second. They know how short the human form of life is. And actually, there's a really great fear Krishna talks about later in the Bhagavad Gita, that if we lose this human form of life, we can potentially degrade into an animalistic form of life. So, very good. So our goal is to not degrade. We have do you know what separates us from the animals? What makes you a human in a better situation than an animal? There's only one thing. Actually, animal life, for all of the animalistic basics of life, animal life is actually superior to human life. I'll explain. Animals and humans share 4 things in common. We eat. Who eats? Yes. We sleep. Who sleeps? We have, the tendency to mate, to shack up. Kids, I don't know, we don't talk about that. But yes, we've all done that. Yes. We'll move forward. Yes. Mating and defending. We acquire things and then we make sure we can defend them. I've got my house now and I've got my land and I've got this. like that. So animals actually do all these things much better than we do. You know, their sense of smell, their sense of strength, all of these things are so much better, you know, than a human beings are. You know, eating, we have to make such gorgeous arrangements to eat. You guys probably made so many gorgeous arrangements to eat. But like a pig or a dog, they can find some poop on the ground and they'll be very happy. It's very easy for them to enjoy food, but we have to make such gorgeous arrangements to try and enjoy and work very hard to enjoy food. What is you know, we can sleep, we can enjoy sleeping. I don't know, as I get older and have more responsibilities, I can enjoy sleeping less and less. I had to pull over on the side of the road on the way here and had my wife drive the last 25 minutes because I needed a little sleep. Because I'm not getting enough sleep. But bears, they can sleep all winter, no problem. And many animals, they can just sleep and enjoy sleep and no one bothers them. You know, mating, you know, we have our arrangements in marriage and this, that. You know, many animals, they're doing this many, many times over and throughout the day. Pigeons and birds, hundreds of times a day. They have a much better, you could say, arrangement to enjoy that facility of life than we do. And defending, you know, we have, you know, we got our homes and things like that. We set up governments and things like that, but they end up just stealing from us anyway. But animals, they've got like claws and fangs and all kinds of ways to defend themselves, strength. Like this, we have weapons and so on. But they're able to do the basics of life much easier than we are. But what makes a human being so special?
We have a sense to do what we're doing, good or bad.
Yes, we get to inquire what is the ultimate good. What is the absolute truth? The human being is the only one who has such an intellect that can do like that. So, if we lose this form of life, if we don't use this human body the way it's supposed to be used, to use the brain to figure out what is the meaning of life, what should I be doing? And we try to live like the animals, trying to find good arrangements for eating, sleeping, finding partner relationships, and trying to acquire things and defend them all. If we only spend our lives doing this, we're really no better than the animals. And if we really evaluate our lives, we might find that, oh my gosh, I'm living like an animal. A very polished animal, but yes, I'm only doing those four things. What are we going to eat? What are the kids going to eat? What are, oh my God, how are we going to sleep? Oh, how are we going to maintain the bills? This, that, and the other. And we spend all day maybe doing that. And the actual human function, which is to inquire into the higher good, how much time are we giving to that? How much do you guys think?
Not enough.
Not enough. Yes, not enough. Is that Arnik over there causing trouble? That's okay. Krishna and Lord Chaitanya were very naughty boys too. This may be a very good thing. But this is actually what we should really consider. To not waste this valuable opportunity. If you have the human form of life, you can do something so great actually. You can understand the absolute truth. It's all present. We have all these books over here. It's all this wonderful wisdom on what the purpose of life and how to execute the purpose of life is all found in the Shastras. It's all given, and we have many modern saints who show us exactly how we can do it in this time, place, and circumstance. It's not a mystery. It's just, have we given it the opportunity? Have we even looked? Because most of us, we don't even look. But look, you have this refined brain. This is what makes you a human. This is the great gift that you're given in life. But if we only worry about the animalistic things, the eating, the sleeping, the mating, and the acquiring things and defending and maintaining all these things, then eventually, if that's all we do, Krishna will give us a better arrangement to get all those things. There may be a perfect animal species for you. I even hear some humans, they lament, they're like, oh my God, my cat or my dog has the best life. He doesn't have to go to work, he doesn't have to do anything, he can just sleep and eat all day. And they think that's so wonderful actually. Why? Because they're not actually utilizing the human function of life. So maybe it is better that Krishna arranges that they take an animalistic birth, or 10, or the Shastras say 8,400,000. Maybe you'll have to go through a cycle of many, many, many species of different lives. But if you have this human form of life, we should use the intellect, we should use the pursuit of knowledge. We can actually think, is this right or is this wrong? An animal cannot. A dog, if it sees something it wants, it immediately goes. Unless what? Unless who trains it? A human, that's the only way. Unless somehow a human has instilled its own moral compass into that animal and trained it. But otherwise, the dog does not have it. And still, when you're not looking, the dog is going to take it anyway. You ever see a lot of those videos on Facebook of the dog when the human's not looking? I saw a really funny one where this guy had a cake, and the dog, he came over and he pretended to fall and slip, and next thing you know, his face went right into the cake and he ate it, and then kind of pretended it was an accident. But anyway, this is the animalistic way. We're just chasing after those 4 things: eating, sleeping, mating, and acquiring and defending. And actually, most of us, myself included, we spend so much time on this thing. So much time. But actually what makes us a human is the ability to try and understand and practice Dharma. So what do we need to do? How do we do that? What's the best way? Yeah, study. Okay, Dikshit, we have a prize for you. Dikshit will be getting some book today. Something to study. This is perfect. Actually, everyone, hopefully you guys get something. If you don't have anything higher to study, please, we brought a bunch of stuff that you can study. Lest you will not fulfill the human purpose of life, actually. The human purpose is not to try and enjoy like the animals. Because we won't be as good at it anyway. And what the Shastra says is that if we continue to live like that, when it's time for us to die, then there's plenty of species that will be better suited. Say we very much like sleeping in this lifetime. Oh, you like sleeping so much? This bear body will be perfect for you in the next life, no problem. And there's many, we're all so unique in our desires and tastes. So there's so many different species that are just perfect for you, depending on what you're into. But right now we have all been gifted this human body. So we should fulfill it and take to something higher. So that's my plea to you. I think I will end here. Again, there's one key point that everyone can understand is we have to learn to tolerate. Life is going to suffer. We're going to suffer in life. That we cannot stop it. We have to learn to tolerate. And if we want the mercy of God, if we want a divine intervention in our life, which maybe we all do, if you use your heart, your consciousness, your words, and your body in service to the Lord as an offering unto Him, you can expect to be freed from your sufferings and to receive His mercy. So that's, I will close there. But are there any questions before we maybe do a final kirtan? This is important. This is actually one of the functions of human form of life. You can inquire, No questions for you, Soham? Summer, you've always got questions.
I never thought about one.
That's okay. Anyone? Any question? Comment?
It was very good. The whole discussion was very good about this. You need to use the human life for better purpose.
Yes. So, thank you. I hope, I look forward. Your husband will get some nice book and that'll guide you towards that. I don't know what book yet, but We'll see. So, all right, Michael.
I would like to tolerate the coming of happiness and distress, but I don't really know where to start because my identification with the false ego. I'm always, like if it's cold, I'm like, oh, I'm feeling cold or feeling hot, feeling hungry or something like this. I just don't always know.
So
where to
you
start.
want to know, well, you can start with what's happening, and how can I tolerate this thing? Right now it's kind of cold. He's it's not really a question, or maybe the question form of it would be, how do you know where to start? And the answer might be easier than you think. Just look whatever's in front of you and you start there. Okay, how can I tolerate in this situation? For instance, if it's cold outside, you layer up, you put on all these things, and you tolerate, and you continue doing your duty. We're not just trying to enjoy everything, because actually we can enjoy nothing that way. It's not all about for your enjoyment in this world. Because actually the cruel reality is we don't enjoy everything. There's a lot of tolerating and a lot of suffering that happens in this world naturally. There's many people in the Midwest, now down south. So many climactic inconveniences have happened to this country this year, which is probably a symptom of something ominous. But anyhow, you could lose everything like that. The people in LA, they lost all their homes. These, just like that, fire gone. In the Carolinas, things are on fire. They could leave you. But whatever is happening right here, that's all you can really start with. What's happening here and now, and pretty much the best way you can tolerate these things is you can surrender unto the Lord in them. Because He recommends we tolerate, but ultimately we have to do the next step too, the positive, and we have to offer something of ourselves back to the Lord. Like you like to chant. You come and you like to sing. Everyone likes to sing, but if we sing about the Lord, then we can offer something to the Lord back. Everyone likes to read. We're all reading our social media, scrolling. I know I do this way too much. Where are the kids at? You all scroll? Am I the only one who's scrolling? All day scrolling, right? We do this too much. But maybe if we scroll through look, I'm scrolling through the Bhagavad Gita verses right now. Like that. You can maybe get a little better, something better for yourself. So we have to take our life and see how we can offer it unto God, and we'll get a much better result. A much, much better result. So, just start where you are and see how you can offer something to the Lord with where you are. So that's where you start. Yes, you know this already. Yes.
But it's nice to hear it again.
Yes. Very good. Okay, one more thing before our final kirtan. My wife. What's that?
No one else has.
Sure.
I think it's like a hard concept to grasp that you're kind of in this world and there's so much suffering and you have to accept it. I think logically it makes sense to everyone, I would assume, but it's not an easy thing to be yes, that's what I want to be doing here, So then you see Prabhupada, for example, Srila Prabhupada, when he came, he talked about all of these things and how people were suffering, animals were suffering, there was so much suffering. But as an individual, he was a very happy person, he was a very enlivened person, but that's because he was so deep into the spiritual journey and into his life, so he actually felt the joy. But at first he had to share with people, first it's like AA, first you have to admit, okay, I have a problem, my problem is I'm here in the material world, and then I'm suffering, and then you can work to that happiness, right? But what about in the middle part where they're suffering, you're seeing that you're suffering, and you're still experiencing it, you're not on the level that, the pure devotees are on, where they're just blissful and enlightened and things like this. So when you're in the middle, right? So how do you navigate in a world where that's the case for majority of people?
Okay. So you were listening to a class yesterday from Swami Bhagavan Keshav Swami, and he was mentioning Bhishma teaching from the Mahabharata, and also there's a similar teaching in that Srimad Bhagavatam, that only two types of people can be fully happy in this world. And the two types of people are the greatest fool, someone who has no knowledge at all of what this world is, and the most enlightened person. And the great sage, someone who's completely enlightened. And everyone else in the middle, in between that point, which would be most of us or all of us, I don't think any of us are the greatest fools in this room here today. Nor do I think anyone is a great sage or an enlightened one, myself especially included. We're all suffering to some degree or another. So, because who wants to be the greatest fool?
So does that mean that complete ignorance would be a bliss sometimes?
Yes, complete ignorance is a bliss. You go over to, maybe you can go to the bar on some college drinking night, and you see these kids totally intoxicated and like this, and that in those moments they're in all kinds of bliss. In this very, most of us, we have some knowledge. This is poisoning yourself, this is going to hurt you, and this isn't, what's the use of doing this? That was expensive, what you just bought. Now, all those things, with a little bit of knowledge, you realize this is a very silly thing to be doing. But with no knowledge, like many of them are having, not very much knowledge, this is like a bliss, So in essence, ignorance can be bliss. But guess what? Eventually you'll learn something. And then when you learn something, then the miseries start to come more and more and more, until you become very completely enlightened and you can know how to actually approach this world. But that's quite the process. And that would take, really delving deep into, say, the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and even more advanced teachings of the Bhagavatam and so on. And then that's only one aspect. Then getting actual personal instruction, because we can only use our own personal, perception of the Shastras for so long. We actually need guidance from those who have reached a higher state, and they can show us how to come to the next level. So seeking teachers is a huge and very important part of this process. We become very arrogant oftentimes. We think we can do everything alone. But actually, this is never was the process in any spiritual tradition. Like even Jesus and all the disciples, they would call him Rabbi, which means teacher, which means they would accept a teacher. So we should all accept teachers and move forward that way. But yes, ignorance is bliss for many, but it won't be like that for very long. They will eventually learn something, and usually by experience, I did many blissfully ignorant things in my youth, and now I can, with experience and learning, I could never go back to doing those things. I would never find the same happiness taking all kinds of intoxications and things that I once found all kinds of happiness in. So, the ignorance is bliss stage is a very limited stage, and it can be almost like akin to childhood. In childhood, oftentimes we're so blissful about, we look back and that was silly. That was a silly, thing that I was doing back then. But, it's funny because the great saintly and sage-like people, they also become, again, like children in many ways. But it's from a completely different stage now, a stage of complete self-realization. They understand exactly what the point of life is and what they should be doing at all times. And actually, our suffering and our ignorance, our suffering is simply due to our ignorance, actually. Because we don't fully grasp what life is. And we don't fully grasp the Lord's presence in everywhere. Because if we did fully grasp it, we wouldn't be suffering. We would see the Lord's mercy in every aspect of life. So yes, but your question again was...
What to do when you're in the middle of these
Yeah, you have to try and get knowledge. You have to try and get some type of knowledge, and with that knowledge, greater and greater, kind of what this verse we just chanted is, you have to eagerly seek the Lord's mercy, which would be culminating in this topmost knowledge that He has, and in that you will.
You have to know yourself.
Yeah, well, that's the first part of, if you don't even know that there is a Lord, there is a God, and that you're a spirit soul, like that's the first teaching of Bhagavad Gita. If you don't even know that, then there's no chance of really seeking the Lord if you don't even know that the Lord can exist.
It's like you have to love something to connect and find it, to spend time, or why would you seek God if you don't love or don't know who He is? So
That's right.
to love somebody, you have to know
Yes.
the Lord. So
Yeah.
and you have to know yourself.
Yes. So this is very important, and this is the first. That's why Bhagavad Gita, all this basic knowledge in Bhagavad Gita, who you are, who God is, what this material world is, what karma is, what time is, how we all fit into all of this. If you don't know these things, then you can't really relish all the pastimes of the Lord and the greater Puranic evidence like the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's very important. So Benita's getting a Bhagavad Gita today. This is her admission today. So Dikshit, this might be the book that you guys are getting today. I'm sure you have this already with Divya Lila. So now you just read these things and make it concrete in your heart. But Dikshit, you were saying something.
Yeah, what happened those who has memory like loss and dementia and all that, they are suffering, but they don't know why they are suffering. Even they don't notice that what can I do?
So are you asking what can they do?
Yeah, like what happened to them?
So this is a good question. I wish I could tell you I'm a medical expert, but I'm not. So take it with a grain of salt.
Dramatic matters, but kind
He's
of
asking
like for those why they are suffering.
Well, the main thing why we are always suffering is
Those people who has memory.
yes.
loss and
But why
all
everyone,
and all.
regardless of whether your memory loss or you've got cancer or something like this, we're always suffering. Bunjana evatma kritam vipakam, because of our own self-actions, which always have results. I'll give you an example. Let's just say I have a taste for all kinds of processed American food items. Let's say Cheetos. And I don't know these things, but Cheetos have all kinds of side effects. And by living my life eating these things constantly, it's having all kinds of side effects on my consciousness, my brain, this, that, and the other. But because I've developed a taste for these things, and I've lived my life developing a taste for these things, there will be some reaction to that. Now we all have very unique reactions. Every one of us is a very unique lot in life. Some people are suffering with dementia. Some people are suffering with all kinds of health issues. Some people are suffering in our relationships. It's so unique, but the reason everything is happening is due to our own past pious and impious activities, meaning our good and bad karma.
Yeah, but if we see that our life, we notice if we did any bad karma, then we can understand that we are suffering. But sometimes, some saint people also, they are suffering. They have the good karma, still they are suffering.
Yes. So you have to think karma is not just like an immediate thing. It's like, all right, the things I did last week are going to give me the results I get this week. We all got the body, we all got the family, we all got everything that we have in this life is coming from many past lives, many past lifetimes of activities.
How do we believe that? That
That's
we
good.
have past life.
Yes,
we did
yes.
something wrong.
Yes. So, actually, this is a good question. And the way I've heard this understood is unless we accept the fact of reincarnation, then any sense of semblance of God is that He is random and cruel. Because if somebody can be born in extreme poverty and anguish, live only 40 minutes and then die, and that wasn't coming from a past place where that wasn't helpful to their soul's journey, that would be a very disturbing fact of life. So, it's really the only way that can explain any justice in the world. And we see it oftentimes in our life. We notice karma. We know what goes around comes back around. We see it in people's lives. But where we're not able to measure is things that have happened in the past, where we can't see, we don't remember. But if you think back, do you remember when you were Soham's age? Do you remember what you were going through and thinking of? No, we forget all these things. So what's to speak of when we were in the womb? What's to speak of before we were in the womb? It's very likely that we've forgotten all of these things. But we still have acted. If, like, say, Adolf Hitler did many, many things. And then when he came back, he had something waiting for him that was a result. It's not that everything was erased in that lifetime. He has to deal with everything that he did, and his next existence will be the continuation. Maybe he was an oppressor in one life, and now he has to be oppressed in the next life. And so, like this.
The
Suffering
purpose,
also kind of learning thing.
but that's what I was gonna say. Like, I think it's to teach us something. And
Yes.
we suffer until we get the lesson. Once we learn that lesson, then we pass, like, suffer.
Yes.
We'll go to the next.
The new suffering to learn the lesson of. Yes. Yeah, this is the point, actually, of this.
It's a cycle.
Yes. Krishna calls this world Dukkalaya in Bhagavad Gita. Dukkalaya is a place of misery. It's not some happy sunshine rainbow land where everything is bliss. It actually, if you learn all the lessons, actually you can experience bliss even in the midst of all this suffering. But unfortunately, because we haven't learned all the lessons yet, then we have to learn. Every life struggle has a lesson to be learned. So ultimately, this whole material world is compared to like a prison. So how do you get out of prison in this age? What's the best way? They say it's a phrase, getting out on what? No, not on bail. That's probably the best way nowadays, is someone pays for you to get out. What's that? On good behavior. I got out on good behavior.
Time served.
What's that?
Time served.
Yeah, the time you served, and then also the good if you've done good behavior, then they'll shorten your sentence, like this.
Sattva karma we should do, right?
Yeah, you should do things that are sattvic. You should do things that are dharmic. These are the beginning teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Then the end teachings, Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. He's saying that actually you can abandon all dharma and just surrender unto me. And so if you imagine what that would be like, if we're in this prison, if we can appeal to the warden and become the servant of the warden and agree to serve the warden, then the warden will say, all right, come on. Instead of having to deal with all the lessons that the guards are giving you, poking and prodding you, you can pass through the guards, come to the warden, and then the warden has a special plan for you. A special sentence you can live out. So that's kind of what Krishna is recommending. We're all this place is a place of rectification, actually. Like a detention center. Our tendency, unfortunately, is we want to be our own little God. We want to be God, meaning we want to control things and we want to enjoy things. This is Krishna's position, this is God's position. But us, this is what we want to do. I want to control this situation, and how can I enjoy it? And then we design our lives in such a way that how can I enjoy and how can I control? But then ultimately, we lose control of most things, and we don't enjoy most things. But that's the nature of this world. It's supposed to teach us a lesson that ultimately, instead of focusing on how you're going to control and enjoy everything, how can you give enjoyment to the Supreme? And ultimately that will culminate in how can I bring enjoyment to all others, from which God is within the heart of everyone. So there's a system on how to do this. Many of you have many questions, but I'll give you a solution and answer. How many of you will take Bhagavad Gita today? Okay, Paloma will take Bhagavad Gita. How many others? Benita might already have Bhagavad Gita. Maybe she'll take a Krishna book or Teachings of Lord Chaitanya to get a new book. So, if you want to know how to get, free from all these things, you can know why some people suffer this way and some people suffer that way. It's a complete, unique arrangement based on what you've always done, what you've done in the past, and it's your lot, and you have to deal with it. And ultimately, anyone who comes to God can have all of their unique problems resolved. But until we do that, there will be many lessons we have to learn in the meantime. So, I'll ask again, who is going to take Bhagavad Gita today? Hopefully all of the adults, they can take Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, Soham will get Bhagavad Gita. That's very good. And how about the Srimad Bhagavatam set? For those who already know Bhagavad Gita, who would like to know the deeper learnings on what to do? This is very nice.
Actually, they're like the portal into the spiritual world.
Yes, this Srimad Bhagavatam gives you, Bhagavad Gita, it gives you what to do. And Srimad Bhagavatam gives you how to do it. So this is another thing we can do. But also, we have the small books that can help you. But you should get something to study. And then when you study, you'll have so many answers and new levels unlocked. Yes?
So we have a lot of guests coming. We have a lot of guests coming.
Oh,
in the
yes.
spring. So if you're talking about learning the books, yes, and then also the...
Yes, this is another good point. We have many, many guests coming this spring. My wife and I, we've realized that we can't actually teach anything in this world unless we take the time to learn. And so we've learned from many different teachers now. Not many, but we're learning from more teachers. And we're realizing the value of inviting those teachers up to us. And having you all have the ability to hear from these teachers. So in April alone, I think we have 3 guests who will join us for our Sunday programs. So please come, especially when we have a guest. We have our Diksha Guru, or our Guru who first introduced us and nurtured us when we were wee toddlers in our Krishna consciousness. He's coming, I think, April 25th and 26th. We have Nrsimha's coming next week. He'll be here for next Sundays. We have Devaki Devidasi. She's a woman ascetic, and she's very hyper specializes on what each man and woman, what your role is, how to properly do your duty in this world as per by the scriptures. So she's amazing at helping one figure that out. And we have Prem Prayojan Prabhu coming in, I think, late May. We also have Bhakti Swarup Sridhar coming early June. And who is coming in July? And then we have a Mukunda Prabhu as well, who is a senior devotee of Srila Prabhupada, a disciple of the author of these books as well. Most of these are either disciples or disciples of disciples of Srila Prabhupada, who's presenting these books in the English language. So anyway, we have facility for you to come and learn and hear. And if you appreciate what we're saying, or what we're saying here now, you'll really appreciate from these teachers who are much more experienced and learned than we are. So, please come. I ran out of time. It's already 6 o'clock. So what is the program? Is it prasad now, or do you want to do one more kirtan? What your choice?
We can do little small kirtan and then prasad.
Small kirtan and then prasad? Okay. Is everyone happy? It's a trick question. This material world doesn't facilitate me. I'm just kidding. It's good to be happy amongst other spiritual aspirants. To actually receive spiritual knowledge can make one happy. So this is, if we get around spiritually inclined people, actually we will be happy, and that's usually why we keep doing that. So anyhow, happiness is assured, actually. Okay, so another kirtan. What do you think? Do you want me to do? You want to do?